Welcome to European Railway issue number 55, the DVD magazine for the continental enthusiast. In this programme, we travel to France to study trains and traction on the line linking Amberieu en Bougie with Culoz as it cuts through the Jura Mountains. We take a look at rail lines radiating away from the Swiss town of Interlaken, including standard and narrow gauge railways. Rush hour action is seen to the southwest of Bruxelles, including TGV high-speed line services. Two locations are visited to the west of the Austrian capital Vienne, one just north of Wiener Neustadt and the other on the Westbahn, not far from St. Pölten. A return is made to France, as our Lineside stopover looks at BB7200 diesels at work to the west of Laon. And finally we study action on the busy main line west of München in Germany. We begin this programme just to the east of Amberieu en Bougie station in the valley of the river Albarine, which forms a gorge as it cuts through the western edge of the Jura Mountains. The main road and railway use the valley to head east towards Annecy and Chambéry. The first location is around 2 kilometres to the east of Amberieu at the beginning of the valley. Heading towards the camera is BB7200 with the 1353 from Annecy to Lyon. The date is the 26th of June 2013. Freight traffic is around one train in each direction per hour. Heading east with loaded ballast hoppers is 26199, with number 201 bringing up the rear. Moving east and we are at the town of Saint-Rambert-en-Bougie, as TGV set number 606 heads west whilst forming the 1442 from Genève to Montpellier. Locomotive-operated passenger services are usually seen every hour in each direction, and are usually worked using Chambéry-based BB7200 locos. This is the 1057 from Nice to Genève, formed of TGV set number 4405. Saint-Rambert was named after the Catholic saint who was executed here in the 7th century. An abbey was built in the town when the area became popular for pilgrimage. Meanwhile, back on the tracks, local services are usually formed of these Class Z9500 units dating from 1982. Some of the older TGV sets are now being withdrawn, and ironically, many will meet their end just 40 kilometres to the east of here in the scrapyards at Culoz. This is the view high above the town of Argy, as a pair of Z27500 units head east with a semi-fast service from Lyon to Genève. BB7200 heads west whilst powering the 1553 from Annecy to Lyon. These locomotives also work services to Grenoble as part of the same set of diagrams. We now move a further 17 kilometres to the east, and we are on a road overbridge just outside the village of Schynige Platte as a pair of bimode B82500 units head west, forming the 1729 from Genève. Maybe this is where a few French rail enthusiasts would choose to be buried, right next to the main line, as BB22360 powers at the rear of this, the 1708 from Lyon to Annecy. This is the station at Viru-le-Grand, and 7370 and 7412 head light engine towards the west. Z27500 unit number 753 heads west. A few minutes later we see TGV set number 48 on the 1645 Paris to Annecy. With the evening now upon us, the line was starting to get busy, and the station here provided as good a vantage point as any to see the day out, especially with the sun beginning to dip behind the hills. Z9600 electric units are gradually being replaced by newer rolling stock, and their long-term future remains in doubt. Arriving with the 1836 from Chambéry to Amberieu is unit number 9634. The unit entered service on the 11th of July 1986 and is one of 9 members of this class working services in the area. Although we had seen freight services when we were travelling between locations, it took until 7:30 before we managed to film one. Here diesel number 75407 heads a van train east, with the wagons looking like they are Italian based. It is probably heading for the border station at Modane. This is the 1808 from Lyon to Annecy, running around 40 minutes late. Locomotive number 22394 was providing the power at the rear. The train was being slowed by the diesel-hauled freight, which had passed us just 4 minutes before. With the shadows getting longer, electric unit number 9617 glides through the station on what we think is an empty stock working for Amberieu. 22396 brings up the rear of this, the 1908 from Lyon to Annecy. Eight minutes behind the two-car unit at 1949 hours are loco numbers 26183 and 26115, seen on this westbound intermodal. Number 7502 is one of 15 of the class which are mainly used on local services around Lyon and Avignon. The unit entered service on the 28th of June 1982. This is 26178. Finally, in this section we see locomotive number BB7200 heading west with the 1853 service from Annecy to Lyon. Our next journey around Europe takes us to Switzerland to look at operations on the lines around the town of Interlaken. Our visit begins on the standard gauge network at Leissigen before we travel east to look at the narrow gauge lines at Wilderswil and Zweilütschinen and Ringgenberg. Approaching the station at Leissigen is BLS unit number 566230 on the 10:05 service from Spiez. This line is a busy single-track route, with numerous passing loops mainly at stations along the way. Seen heading west is German ICE unit number 401083, forming the 10 o'clock from Interlaken to Berlin. 565740 enters the station forming the 1020 from Interlaken to Spiez. We'll return to Leissigen station later on in this section, but before then we continue our journey towards Interlaken with a visit to this location, which is still in Leissigen but around half a kilometre to the east of the station. 460-007 approaches the camera at the head of the 1030 from Interlaken to Basel. In the opposite direction, some selective cleaning is seen on the outside of this ICE unit number 401090 as it heads towards Interlaken, forming the 0538 from Frankfurt. This is Därligen, as we see 460-002 heading along the shores of Lake Thuner See, with the 11 o'clock from Interlaken to Basel. (460-086) powers the 931 from Basel. Unit number 565740 returns from Spiez with a stopping service for Interlaken. This is the view from the lake end of Interlaken West Station, as one of the regular Thuner See ferry services from Thun arrives at its destination. Forming the 12 o'clock to Berlin is set number 401090. Two of the regular local services are seen passing each other in the station. There is also a 2-hourly Golden Pass service to and from Zweilütschinen, operated by the older brown-liveried BLS electrics. Here number 167 arrives with the 1138 from Zweilütschinen. The river Ahr flows quite strongly here, emptying out of Lake Thuner See, which is situated around a kilometre further east behind our camera. Crossing over the bridge is 460076 with the 1059 from Basel. Following the Class 460, number 167 heads a return service for Zweilütschinen. The railway crosses the river once again, just before the entrance to Interlaken Ost station. Here the 1131 from Basel arrives on Friday the 28th of June 2013. This is the western departure lines at Interlaken Ost station, the terminus for all trains arriving at the town. Departing with a local service for Spiez is unit number 230. In the opposite direction is another local service arriving from Spiez. We mentioned earlier that we would be returning to Leissigen. This was in order to film the daily freight on this particular stretch of line. Seen departing for Spiez is locomotive number 11657. The town of Spiez can be seen in the distance, on the right of the picture. There were 2 BLS Brown electrics employed on the Golden Pass diagrams each day. The second one on this occasion was number 195, seen passing with the 1338 from Zweilütschinen. This ICE train set, number 401073, is not long into its journey, forming the 1500 from Interlaken to Hamburg, a journey which will take just over 9 hours to complete. Waiting on the other line is 460002. Number 195 returns with the 1508 from Interlaken to Zweisimmen. On the other line is 566242, one of a number obtained from the BLS merger with the Regionalverkehr Mittelland. The red liveried vehicles haven't been repainted into the new BLS colours and are slated for withdrawal. To the east of Interlaken, running along the shores of Lake Thuner See, is the Zentralbahn. The first station on the line out of Interlaken is here at Ringgenberg, where brand new Class 160 unit number 001 arrives with a service from Meiringen. These 3 car units are used on rush hour services or to strengthen other trains when necessary. A short while later and the unit returns from Interlaken. We are now to the south of Interlaken, close to the town of Wilderswil, as Schynige Platte Bahn's number 16 drifts down the hill and is passed by Berner Oberland Bahn units numbers 306 and 308, working a train towards Interlaken. This is the river Lütschine, which conveys meltwaters from the nearby Jungfrau mountain range. Also dropping down a grade is locomotive number 13, which is celebrating its 100th birthday this year. Note the pantograph, which has been dropped down. It's not long before number 13 retraces its route back up to the summit, this time though with a baggage trolley positioned on the front of the train. The journey up to the summit at Schynige Platte, which is located at 1,987 metres above sea level, takes just over 50 minutes to complete. Here we see a combined service from Interlaken to Lauterbrunnen and Grindelwald. The train will split at Zweilütschinen, where we shall be going next in the final part of this section. The line to Grindelwald and Lauterbrunnen divides here at Zweilütschinen. This is how it works. First, a train from Grindelwald arrives. This one is powered by electric railcar number 313. Next, a service from Lauterbrunnen arrives around a minute later and seamlessly couples up to the rear of the train that has come down from Grindelwald. A section of double track allows trains to pass each other on what is largely a single track railway. A train from Interlaken arrives before dividing and heading off to Lauterbrunnen and Grindelwald respectively. We now travel to Belgium and the main line to the southwest of the capital, Brussels, on the route from Halle to Enghien and onwards towards the village of Silly. We chose two locations, one at the village of Saintes and the other next to the high-speed and classic main lines east of the town of Ath. We begin at Saintes early on the morning of Friday the 12th of July 2013, as a pair of new Class AM08 Siemens da electric units head west towards Enghien. The train is passed by locomotive number 2155, bringing up the rear of the 534 from Mouscron to Schaerbeek. This line is exceptionally busy during the morning and evening peak periods, with almost constant activity. This time a pair of AM82 brake units heads west at 0648, with the 536 from Antwerpen Centraal. (2150) is on the rear of this, a delayed 0544 from Mouscron. A rare sight these days is this shot of a pair of Class 55 diesels, both fitted with TVM 430 cab signalling for TGV rescue duties. They are seen heading east towards Bruxelles. A trio of AM8 units heads west, with the 651 from Gerardsbergen. (2123) comes into view heading the 650 from Schaerbeek to Mouscron. Since the demise of the Class 26 electrics, these and the new Class 18 have taken over most of their old duties. This is the 0704 from Tournai to Schaerbeek, with two 119 powering at the rear. Our final scene from this location shows 2757 heading east towards Halle. Heading southwest, and we are now close to the station at Silly, where the Bruxelles to Lille high-speed line parallels the route from Ath to Bruxelles. Heading north is 2116, at the rear of this the 0738 from Mouscron. (2712 and 2704 top and tail this southbound working towards Ath. During the morning and evening peak periods, this stretch of line is also particularly busy with commuter traffic. A Class 27 and Class 21 combination next, as 2725 leads with 2146 on the rear. Note the sliding doors that remain open on the first coach. This is the 0837 from Bruxelles Midi to Paris Nord. AM82 units number 349 and 368 form the 758 from Kortrijk to Antwerpen Centraal. This 4-track main line saw trains passing every 3 to 4 minutes, but no freight services were seen. In the opposite direction, 3 sister units head south with the 736 from Antwerpen to Kortrijk. This is the 0852 Eurostar service from Bruxelles to St Pancras International. The train will arrive in London in less than 2 hours. The 0838 from Mouscron to Schaerbeek is powered at the rear by 2123. We saw this loco passing Saintes earlier on in this section. This is the 0913 from Bruxelles to Paris, a journey which will take just 1 hour and 25 minutes. In the opposite direction comes the 0537 from Lyon, 2122 heads the 0906 from Schaerbeek to Mouscron. These locos work most of the services on the Bruxelles, Tournai and Mouscron line. The region around Vienne in eastern Austria also sees a wide variety of passenger services which cater for the many thousands of daily commuters travelling to and from the capital. In this section we look at two lines, one to the south on the way to Wiener Neustadt and the other on the Westbahn main line on the route to St. Pölten. We begin just north of Wiener Neustadt, close to the town of Theresienfeld, as a pair of Class 4020, still in their original blue and cream livery, head north with the 1743 Wiener Neustadt to Vienne on Wednesday the 2nd of July 2013. Heading south with the 1729 from Vienne to Viering is 2016-021. Shortly after, diesel railcar number 5047050 passes with the 1708 from Maria Lanzendorf to Wiener Neustadt. Unfortunately, there aren't many filming locations to be had on the southern end of the line towards Wiener Neustadt, with houses and sound barriers close to the line for much of its length. Here, numbers 4020-290 and 4020-206 head south. Number 1144239 heads the 1617 Retz to Peyerbach service. These locomotives operate many of the commuter services seen around Vienne, where they share duties with Class 1016 and Class 1116. In the opposite direction comes 1144210. We move around 20 kilometres to the north now, and we are close to the tunnel just north of Baden-Pfaffstatten, as 1144003 heads south past the vineyards with a 1656 Znojmo to Peyerbach. Running around 30 minutes late is Railjet liveried 1216229 with the 0614 from Hamburg to Villach. (2016-003) powers the 1900 from Vienne to Freiburg. It was nearly all southbound services that we saw as the evening rush out of Vienne continued. Here 1116232 powers at the rear of this railjet service bound for Graz. With an intensive passenger service, there is very little room for freight on this route, with no trains being seen during our visit. We suspect that most are routed on the line via Ebenfurt. Heading towards the camera is 1116111, powering the 1726 from Braclav. Finally, 1116140 heads north. Next stop is Mödling, just a few minutes away. In our second section, we call into Kirchstetten, situated on the Westbahn main line between Vienne and St. Pölten. Just west of the station we see 1142691, heading for Vienne with the 0714 from St. Pölten. These locomotives are regularly found working on this line, heading passenger services to and from Vienne. Shortly after, and 470-005, heads the 2135 overnight train from Zurich to Budapest. Another of the older classes of electric loco found working on this line are the class 1144. Here number 268 is in charge of the 0704 from Vienne to St. Valentin, seen on Thursday the 4th of July 2013. The 0734 from St. Pölten slows for the station stop, with 1142647 powering at the rear. This is 1144276, seen just 10 minutes later. In the opposite direction, 1144252 has paused at the station with the 0716 stopping service from Vienne to St. Pölten. (1116-031) heads through the station with the 2021 overnight service from Köln to Vienne. Note the car-carrying vehicles on the rear of the train. (1116-044) with 185399 in tow restarts its train out of the station loop. Not far behind was this track maintenance vehicle. (1144-252) returns from St. Pölten with a local service for Vienne. This is 185368 heading a westbound container train at just after 4 minutes to 9. A trip freight headed by 2070038 is the next train to greet the film crew as it heads east towards Neulenbach. Finally, ES64U2020 heads towards the camera with an eastbound container working. We now move to France and to some diesel action to the west of Laon, where services to and from Amiens, as well as certain services to Paris, were still worked by diesel locomotives when we paid our visit on the 12th of July 2013. Our first location is at the station at Crépy-Couvron, on the double track line between Laon and Amiens. Arriving with the 1559 Laon to Amiens local service is number 67413. In the opposite direction comes 67614 with a 1459 from Amiens to Laon. A fast car allowed us to get to the western outskirts of Laon just in time to see 67596 heading south with a 1624 from Laon to Paris Nord. There are just a handful of loco-hauled services on this line, with most trains operated by diesel units. A small amount of freight comes this way, but you have to be very patient. Our final view shows the cathedral at Laon standing majestically on the hill. Heading towards the camera is 67614, returning to Amiens with the 1658 from Laon. Our final section comes from the busy main line to the west of München, on the 4-track route to Augsburg. We chose 2 locations, the first just east of Mammendorf and the other at Haspelmoor. The date is Friday the 5th of July 2013, and approaching the camera is the 0656 from Stuttgart to München. In the opposite direction comes 101027, at the head of the 0639 from Salzburg to Berlin. This line sees constant activity, with almost always a train in view somewhere in the distance. Class 440 dominates local and semi-fast services. The 5th track here is effectively a single track line, to and from Mammendorf, used by terminating services. Trains are operated every hour mainly using Class 423 units, such as those seen here. The line is also busy with freight traffic. Expect anything from 6 to 8 per hour on average. Here 189063 heads a train east. This is 120133. This is the 0830 from Dinkelscherben to München. (185.263) meets 185.166, heading towards the camera with a mixed wagon load freight. The action continues with 185.143 seen heading east with this tank train. In the opposite direction comes 189.002, making it the sixth freight we saw in 30 minutes. This is the 0528 from Saarbrücken to Graz, powered at the rear by 101.141. Sister locomotive number 101036 passes by in the other direction, with train EC390, the 0632 from Linz to Frankfurt. We now move around 5 kilometres to the west and to Haspelmoor. A convenient road overbridge allows for some good views of the trains as they curve around the corner. 152-157 heads a container train towards München. (185-302) passes our other camera, heading a loaded steel train from Linz Steelworks. Veteran Class 151, number 026, has charge of a rake of empty scrap wagons. MRCE Dispolock High Loco number 189909 heads west with an intermodal train from Italy, which would have earlier passed over the Brenner Pass route south of Innsbruck. This is 186329. 1028 from München to Berlin heads along the fast lines, just 10 minutes away from its stop at Augsburg. Finally in this programme, 152139 rounds the curve with a mixed freight bound for the yard at München North. We hope that you have enjoyed watching this edition of European Railway.